Hello, Ghosties. This is Pheno, and today I'm going to be going through more of my thoughts and reactions to some of the new cards. I haven't looked at all of the new cards quite yet. I think the initial reaction of kind of processing how good the card might be in the moment is also very fun. I've looked at a couple of them, but I'm very excited for the new expansion. No idea when it's coming, and I don't even know how my content is going to land this week due to the possibility of me having content ready and then it becoming irrelevant as soon as I upload it. So that I'm working through that. But what we are going to do today is we're going to go through some of the new cards. We're going to have a very good time, I think. And yeah, we're just going to go through it and let's get started. So the first card I want to talk about is Skew, I think is how you pronounce that. It is a 4-cost 2/6 minion. At the end of any player's turn, give one of their minions a random buff and keyword ability, excluding Skew. This card is incredibly cool. It is RNG at its finest. It is beautiful because what this card can do is it can buff your board immensely and it can buff the enemy's board immensely. So it really opens up a very cool variation. It's a minion that's great. The downside is that's at the end of any player's turn, which means that even if you are able to remove anything on your opponent's board, as long as he plays something on his turn, it could still get that buff. It's a pretty cool card. The art on it is fantastic. It is a very slick looking card. How good is it going to be? I don't know. This is really going to be one of those cards that I think we have to see in play and really see some of the buffs. I was looking, and some of the abilities are pretty cool. So we'll see. We'll see how this card turns out. But really, it's just really good. The value here is going to be exponential. It could be really cool. And for a 4-cost 2/6, it's got a nice beefiness to it. Is it worth 4 mana? Maybe not. You've got the Provoke with 3/6 for 4. That's arguably more valuable in a lot of pinch situations. So I don't know. I don't really know what's going to happen or where this card is going to land. But once again, congratulations, Skew, to getting a card in the game. It is really cool. And yeah, you and Skarzig, well done. Knucklestorm is the next card that I want to talk about. And Knucklestorm is really cool. This is a card that deals 1 damage to an enemy. So it's similar to Gotatsu without the card draw, but it gets more powerful. So this is a card that if you're able to recycle in some way, which we'll get to later because it does look like some form of recycle is in the new expansion, Intensify is great because eventually this is going to become a 1-cost deal 3 damage to an enemy. It's basically a 1-cost Phoenix Fire. That is fantastic. And even a 1-cost 2 is still very nice. I see really no downside to Knucklestorm at all. It's a spell, so it's going to synergize very well with a lot of very spell-heavy decks. I definitely think that there could be a spell version of an Arcanist deck coming out with this. Owl is going to be top of the game with synergies like this. It's really, really solid, and I can't wait to see this card in play. And the art on it's pretty cool. It just looks like as lame as it sounds to say this, it does look like the card is giving you the PewDiePie bro fist thingy that he does in his videos. So yeah, I don't know. That probably just sullied the card for a lot of people. Thicket Augur is really cool. It is a Vanar specific card, and the possibilities with this card are really cool. So starting out, a 2-cost 1/1, not great, but Intensify is pretty cool. Summon one Treant with Provoke nearby. So you get one of them for the initial drop. So it's a 2-cost. What I would assume the Treant is a 1/1 or maybe a 2/2. Either way, it's not bad. It's really not bad. And the Intensify makes it even better because it gives Vanar something that Vanar has been lacking, and that is a form of Provoke, a form of Taunt until you get to the higher tier when you have the 7-drop. It's a really cool card, and I can't wait to see it in play. It costs right where it should, I think, and it's going to ramp up very well. The Intensify mechanic overall is very cool. It's a much better mechanic than Battle Pets, to be honest. It's far superior to Battle Pets because Battle Pets were basically garbage. Intensify, on the other hand, could very well be bad for some cards, depending on how they balance it. Because if they swing it so that the card is good on the first drop, it then becomes great on the second drop and overpowered on the third drop. You have to get lucky enough to get all 3 of them within the same game. And then you do have a card that we're going to talk about at some point that allows you to put copies of cards into your deck. So you could actually intensify it past the 3-card cap. That is really cool. And it does allow for some really unique possibilities. Silence still wrecks Intensify on minions, though. I don't know how that works because Intensify is an ability. So does it set it back all the way? So if you have an Intensify ×3, if you silence that minion, does it get... How does that work? Can you even silence an intensified minion? If you guys do know, I'd love to know down in the comment section below. But the expansion is so far really exciting. I'm very excited for these cards, and Thicket Augur could potentially be in some of my Venar decks going forward, since they killed Wall Venar many times now. Adam Klinger is pretty cool. It's a 3-cost 1/5. So out the box, 1/5 for 3 isn't bad. Attack is a little bit low, I think, but the ability on this card is really unique. It's not an Intensify minion. It is just whenever you equip an artifact, this minion gains plus attack equal to the artifact's cost. So the question really comes down to, does the minion have to be in play for that to work? And does it gain those abilities as it is, like, if you've equipped 3 artifacts, is this now a 3-cost wonderful minion? I don't think so, because of the way that it functions. The way that the card actually looks is equal to the artifact's cost. That could be crazy. There's some nice artifacts spread throughout all the decks. So being able to drop this minion, he's almost guaranteed to survive due to his beefy health. And then he just gets something. You drop a 4-cost artifact, and you then get the buff from the artifact, and you now have a 5/5 on the board for 3. That is fantastic power. It's going to be a huge card for the artifact deck for Sanj. And yeah, I mean, there's really no way of knocking this card. I think that this is going to be a stellar card out the gate for anybody running a Vetruvian artifact deck. It's just good. I don't see why you wouldn't keep this in your deck. The only reason I could possibly think is if you don't have room for it in a artifact deck that is already doing really well. If there's no way for you to put this in without sacrificing something that is really integral to the functioning of your deck. Otherwise, I do see this being a new potential staple of artifacts decks. Definitely replacing Falcius in those types of decks. He's a nice trade compared to Falcius, if anybody can truly actually replace Falcius. Riftwalker is the next card we're going to take a look at, and this is a card that I think has a lot of really nice potential. This is a very, very nice card, and yeah, I can't wait to see. It is neutral, and the fact that this card is neutral is what really makes it interesting, because it's a 4-cost 3/3, which on paper those stats aren't great. It's really not super great. It's not awful. There's a lot of cards that share similar attributes for the same cost. However, Airdrop plus Intensify, deal 1 damage to everything around it, is really cool. Because when you drop it the first time, yeah, you're not going to see a crazy amount of oomph when it comes down. But the second time you play this card, it is then an airdrop, deal 2 damage to everything around it. And then if you do need to or manage to play it a third time, it is an airdrop Intensify, deal 3 damage to everything around it. That's pretty good. The downside is it sits in a similar realm as the pony, the little nuke pony that when you drop it, minions around it attack itself, I believe is how the minion works. And that is an incredible drop as well. And this is kind of riding along with it without requiring the ramp up. This card requires that ramp up to really make it good. And because pony exists, I don't know if Riftwalker will see a crazy amount of play. I really don't. It has the fact that it is a rare on its side, so more people might have Riftwalker compared to the pony that sits at an epic. But Riftwalker is really cool, and it also has airdrop. And airdrop is, I think that is the stat that's going to solidify it in some decks, because you can drop it anywhere and you can nuke creatures anywhere. It's going to be spectacular in Gauntlet. This is probably going to get picked every time because of the fact that it is a minion that you can drop anywhere on the board, deal damage to everything around it, and then trade into a ranged minion, something that you otherwise wouldn't be able to reach. I think that this card has the potential in Gauntlet to be spectacular. But in constructed, I don't fully know if I see this card getting around. Painful Pluck is the next card we're going to look at, and it's actually the last card that we're going to look at for this video today. Painful Pluck is a 1-cost spell for Abyssian, and Intensify, turn 1 random space into Shadow Creep, prioritizing spaces under minions. That is really good. This is a fantastic card, and the reason why it is a fantastic card is creep decks need a little bit of help. Obliterate is being cycled out, which is going to impact Abyssian creep decks immensely unless they add something that has a similar effect to it. However, Juggernaut, to my knowledge, is still sticking around, and because he's going to be sticking around, we're still going to see some really cool potential synergies with some creep. This card is cool. It's a legitimate looking card. It really is. I mean, you get 1 damage because it's basically going to 1 cost, 1 damage to all the minions underneath of it once for the first time. The second time, it's still a 1 cost, but it's going to do 2 underneath of the minions. And then you have the next one where it's going to 1 cost, put 3 creep. That is pretty good. It is pretty good. As long as it doesn't ping underneath of spaces where a minion might already be on creep. That would be the only problem I would see, is if it doesn't, like, if there's a minion that's on creep already, does it then try to put creep under that minion again? That would be my biggest concern with the card. Or does it just automatically go, nope, every minion on the board is currently already on creep, so we're going to just randomly toss 1 to 3 creeps on the board. Either way, I think it is a really cool card. It is a common, so it is a nice, easy card to potentially get for those creep decks, and I think that it does have a lot of potential. And whether or not we see that, I don't know. Some of the cards that I might think are really good, you guys might think are really good, and you're excited to use, might actually turn out not to be so great when they're actually put into play. These are all obviously just my opinions, my thoughts on the cards, and I would love to know you guys' thoughts and opinions on the cards. Please let me know down in the comment section below what your thoughts and opinions on these cards are. Do you like the cards that we covered today? Are you excited to play with any particular ones? And hell, what is your favorite one so far from all of them that have been released? I'm going to be doing another video similar to this, probably go up tomorrow, because the one thing that I know for sure is no matter when the expansion comes out, these videos are still good. So thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, give it a share, and come back very soon to check out some more of the content here on the channel. Duelyst is pretty good, and I've got a lot of Duelyst content, so if that is something you're interested in, please feel free to check it out. Thank you all very much, and as always, till the next video.